They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and this image of Little Kim that she posted on Instagram is an essay on self-hatred. When you look at this image of Little Kim with her skin bleached, a white woman's blonde hair weaved into her head, and her nose cut down to appear like a white woman, it tells the world that she hates herself. However, Little Kim is just one of many African American women participating in a disturbing trend. If you look at recent images of actress Persia White, you will notice that she has her hair dyed blonde and her nose cut down. And if you look at a recent image of Lark Voorhees, you will notice that this black woman has bleached her skin, dyed her hair blonde, and is even going on as far to say that she's not black. When you look at these images of African American women, you will notice that there is a truly disturbing trend with African American women in that they are trying to change themselves into a glorified image of white women. And this transformation has very little to do with black men. It really has to do with the low self-esteem that many African American women have. Moreover, it has to do with an identity crisis I have noticed with African American women over the last 40 years. Because if you do your research on African American women, ever since they became part of the feminist movement, they thought they could become equal to white women. And they want that position of power, and they also want that standard of beauty that the white woman has, because in their minds, they believe that the white woman is the ultimate standard of beauty, because this is what has been promoted to them as a culture since their birth. And this is what they grow up seeing in media like magazines, TV shows, books, and movies. And they believe that this standard is the only standard for beauty. This is what's caused a big identity crisis in African American women over the last 40 years. And I'll even go back to far as say even the last couple of centuries, because African American women have always been told that they are ugly, not by black men, but by white men and the white supremacist culture. The black standard of beauty has never been elevated by white people. Unfortunately, black women pretty much believe that the white standard is the only standard and is the ultimate standard and what they should aspire to. Unfortunately, women like Little Kim believe this standard, and they also believe the words that people like her father and rappers like Notorious B.I.G. say about black women not being attractive. And this is Little Kim's reasoning for going out and having this extensive plastic surgery and this bleaching to turn herself into this image of a glorified white woman. She believes that if she turns herself into this glorified image of a white woman, black men will find herself attractive. Now, this is completely illogical. However, this is what she believes because she hears these voices inside of her head. Because a lot of African American women, they hear these negative voices in their head more so than the positive voices inside of their head, and they believe that that they need to aspire to this standard of beauty to attract the attention of black men. Now, what Little Kim doesn't understand is that there were many black men out here, and they were out here buying her albums and buying and supporting her, and they were the ones who were elevating her image of the standard of beauty, because it has always been black men who have been elevating the standard of beauty for black women. I mean, I look at the historical documents, and that's the way it's always been ever since black publications have come to the marketplace. Magazines like Ebony, Jet, Essence, they've always made an effort to elevate the standard of black beauty. And it's black men, again, who define the standard of black beauty, because black men are the ones who say that black women are attractive. And I don't think, as a man myself, I don't find images that I see today of your Little Kims, your Persia Whites, or your Lark Voorhees. I don't find those images attractive. I find them to be quite disturbing and even appalling, because this is not a black woman. This is a black woman who's a glorified image of a white woman. And that's not even a real image in and of itself, because if you look at most of the images of white women today, that's not what these white women look like. That's what those white women are made to appear to be. That's an imaginary image, because Most of the pictures we see in media of these white women, those pictures are pretty much, they're not real. They've been cut up and changed to the point where it's not even funny. Those white women, pretty much, when they make those photos, they paint their faces with a gallon of makeup. They pretty much even put up makeup not only on their faces, but they put makeup on their bodies to cover up those imperfections and flaws. And when they're wearing clothes, those clothes are pinned into place. And even with their shoes, sometimes the shoes are either too big or too small. They make them stand in a certain way to make it appear attractive. And then after they take that photo, what they do is they go into Photoshop and they do things like surface blurs, radial blurs. They'll do things like clone stamping and all sorts of modifications to make you think that this woman is so attractive. And this has never been the case. And most African American women don't understand this. They sit there and they believe that this image of this white woman is this ultimate standard. It's never been the ultimate standard, because even if you go back as far as the 1930s and 1940s, they were even airbrushing those photos to make those women appear more attractive than they actually were. If you were to walk up on some of these white women with no makeup on, many of them actually look like men. But if you walk up on many of our black sisters, these are some of the most beautiful women without makeup whatsoever. And I've seen pictures of black women without makeup. I've seen women like Tyra Banks and Tia Mowry, and I've seen them without makeup, and those were incredibly beautiful women, even without the makeup. Unfortunately, in many cases, your African American women who are extremely attractive, like this, without makeup on, they have such low self esteem and self worth issues. They go out here and instead of paying attention to the black men who find them attractive, they go out here and chase white men, and they deify these white men because, again, they believe that the white woman is not only the ultimate standard of beauty, but the ultimate standard of what to be, and she wants to pursue relationships, some of them, with these white men. So this is why they change themselves into this caricaturized image of a white woman, because they want to be just like that white woman. They want to be equal to that white woman, and they want to be able to attract the attention of white men. So they want to make themselves look this way. Unfortunately, they don't understand is that many of the white men who look at this caricaturized image of a white woman are repulsed by it, just like the black men are repulsed by it, because it is not genuine. It is not real. It is an imaginary image. And it's a caricaturized image, and it's not showing what is true to you. When I looked at the original Little Kim from the 1997 when I was working at Food Emporium, it was a head turner. It made, again, I will agree that it made me turn my head and look at her, and pay attention to her. And for that one moment, because she was a very, very attractive black woman. And I find black women who are in their natural state very attractive, again. But I look at these caricaturized images and I look at these women who butcher themselves, and it shows what's not attractive about them, and that is who they are on the inside and how they feel about themselves on the inside. Because how you feel about yourself is reflective in how you dress yourself, how you present yourself, and how you show to the world. This is how you reflect, and who you are attracted to really reflects on who you are, because who you get involved with is a reflection of you. When I looked at Little Kim and how she was trying to go after this Notorious B.I.G., even though he clearly wasn't interested, it was a reflection on her lack of self-esteem and self-worth. The same thing with many of these other African American women who are out here and they believe that they have to go out here and swirl. They're doing this, again, partially due to their low self-esteem and self-worth, and they believe that the only way for them to have a value is to get it from this white man, and that if they win the attention and approval of this white man, they will feel loved and honored and accepted. And that's not the case at all, because if it doesn't come from inside of you, if you don't like who you are on the inside, then you're going to project that out to the outside of the world. That's what you're going to express to the world outside. And this is something that the African American woman, really, it does not resonate inside of her mind about her self-esteem and self-worth issues. Instead, she projects it on the outside and tries to say that it's the black man doing this to her, when in actuality, this is how she feels about herself, And this is again reflected in how she dresses and how she presents herself, because if Little Kim really liked Little Kim, she would just be Little Kim. She would not try to turn herself into this glorified image of a white woman in order to try to win the approval of imaginary people inside of her head and try to make people happy instead of and make them feel good about her. She would feel good about her, and she would be the best Little Kim she could have been. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.